children of Warwick School, and welcome back to story time. So I'm going to read another one of my favourite books today, and here it is. It's the Oxford Paperback Dictionary and Oh, Mr. Walsh, you've done it again. Completely the wrong book. Hang on a second. Right, I've got the right one over here somewhere. Where have I put it? Right, here it is. This is the right book. I do apologise. Right, it's A Squash and a Squeeze. You probably know this book because it's super famous. It's by Julia Donaldson with the illustrations by Axel Scheffler. And we always recognise Axel Scheffler's artistic style, don't we? If you think of the Gruffalo and Room on the Broom and Zog and lots of others, they all have this similar, very distinctive style, don't they? And yeah, you may have seen this book thousands of times before, but it's an absolute favourite of mine, so I'm going to read it to you again. So, let's have a look inside. A Squash and a Squeeze. Now, as is usual, I would love it if you could join in with this book. So, sometimes I just need you to say a squash and a squeeze. So, I might say, my house is... and you just say, a squash and a squeeze. Shall we have a practice? Okay, here we go. My house is a squash and a squeeze. All right, here we go. A little old lady lived all by herself with a table and chairs and a jug on the shelf. Oh, she doesn't look very happy actually, does she? Let's find out what's going on. A wise old man heard her grumble and grouse. There's not enough room in my house. Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Take in your hen, said the wise old man. Take in my hen? What a curious plan. Well, the hen laid an egg on the fireside rug and flapped round the room, knocking over the jug. The little old lady cried, What shall I do? It was pokey for one, and it's teeny for two. My nose has a tickle, and there's no room to sneeze. My house is a squash and a squeeze. And she said, Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Take in your goat, said the wise old man. Take in my goat? What a curious plan. Well, the goat chewed the curtains and trod on the egg, then sat down to nibble the table leg. The little old lady cried, Glory be! It was teeny for two, and it's tetchy for three. The hen pecks the goat, and the goat's got fleas. My house is a squash and a squeeze. And she said, Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Take in your pig, said the wise old man. Take in my pig? What a curious plan. So she took in her pig, who kept chasing the hen and raiding the larder again and again. The little old lady cried, Stop, I implore. It was tetchy for three, and it's teeny for four. Even the pig in the larder agrees. My house is a squash and a squeeze. And she said, Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Take in your cow, said the wise old man. Take in my cow? What a curious plan. Well, the cow took one look and charged straight at the pig, then jumped on the table and tapped out a jig. The little old lady cried, Heavens alive! It was teeny for 4, and it's weeny for 5. I'm tearing my hair out. I'm down on my knees. My house is a squash and a squeeze. And she said, Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Take them all out, said the wise old man. But then I'll be back where I first began. So she opened the window and out flew the hen. That's better. At last I can sneeze again. She shooed out the goat and she shoved out the pig. My house is beginning to feel pretty big. She's looking quite happy now, isn't she? She huffed and she puffed and she pushed out the cow. Just look at my house. It's enormous now. Thank you, old man, for the work you have done. It was weeny for 5. It's gigantic for 1. There's no need to grumble and there's no need to grouse. There's plenty of room in my house. And now she's full of frolics and fiddle-de-dees. It isn't a squash and it isn't a squeeze. Yes, she's full of frolics and fiddle-de-dees. It isn't a squash or a squeeze. Oh, the animals don't look too happy though, do they? They've been kicked out of the house. So what was going on there then? So she had this small house and she was grumbling and grousing. And the old man said, take in all the animals. And then at the end he said, take them all out again. And she said, oh, there's plenty of room in my house. So I'm not sure what changed there. Was her house any different at the end to how it was at the start? I wonder what had changed. Do you think maybe her house was big enough all along, but she only really realised that when all the animals were in squashing things up, and then when they went out again, it was clear to her that there was actually plenty of room in her house, wasn't there? Well, I hope you enjoyed this book. It's definitely a favourite of mine, and as we said, it's by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler, who have got lots of fantastic books who you may want to look at. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye bye for now.